My name is Caroline Barrett. I'm Program Manager for Traceability Agriculture Victoria. So I've been partnering with Table Grape Association on this pilot. So just to introduce some of the details of the pilot, this is Perfection Fresh Fruit Masters pilot farm, which is in the Mildura region of Victoria. They are a table grape producer and exporter. And during the pilot, they've been exporting to 5 Asia Pacific countries. Thank you. So we have tried to achieve end-to-end traceability through this pilot. Over on the left here, we've got on-farm traceability. So PickScan Pro technology currently facilitates the harvest data, and we've linked that to GS1 standards through to the export data in the pilot. Over on the right-hand side, we've got the export traceability that we've put in place. These consist of unique serialized GS1 digital link enabled QR code labels, which is a bit of a mouthful, but we'll explain a little bit more about that in the next slide. Here's an example of what the labels look like on the wholesale export product side. And if you want to get your own mobile phones ready, in a few slides, I'll show you an example of this where you can actually look at the microsite yourself. These labels here are all unique. They're not all of the same. Every single tray has its own unique label on it. And when these are scanned by any of the supply chain partners, they verify the origin of the product. They have access to a B2B microsite with specific information for them, including things such as temperature storage instructions and relevant information for them. On the flip side, the scanning also provides information back to the producers about the location scan data, so they can see where their product is being distributed. This is the labeling on the retail products, so on the poly bags, and this goes straight through directly to consumers. So when consumers scan these products, they are able again to verify the product. They can access a slightly different business to consumer microsite, and they get their own specialized information, including a feedback survey. So again, on the flip side of this, the scanning provides the producers with the location scan data, but also as a really important bonus, they get feedback survey data as well. And I think this feedback survey data is really important in producers seeing the value of traceability. So here's your opportunity to have a play. You can get your phone out and use your standard QR scanner just to scan this microsite, to scan this QR code, which will take you through to a demonstration microsite, which is the same as the one that consumers would see. And once you've scanned it, the first thing that you should see would be a verification. And then it will take you through to some features of the product and also of the place of origin as well. So hopefully you've managed to get your mobile phone out and have a quick scan of that and have a little play and a sneak preview of the microsite. This is what you'll see when you scan a label. The first step is the verification of the product. This is really important. Consumers want to know they're eating genuine product and that it's safe. And this is really important in combating food fraud, which might just be on a small scale through kind of swapping product between packages, or it might be on a large scale where active kind of counterfeiting is taking place. So this verification step is really important. And these are some of the screens that you'll see when you scroll through the microsite on your phone. So over on the left-hand side there, you can see the story of the farm. Over on the right is information about the location and the region that the fruit has come from. And in the middle is information about the variety of the fruit. Now, this is a really key feature. And remember that every one of these QR code labels is unique. So each one of them will link to the correct variety of the fruit, which is in the bag or in the tray. And we've put these labels on multiple different fruit varieties so the variety information will pertain directly to the fruit that's in the bag and describe the features to the consumer or to the supply chain partner. So these are a summary of the microsite marketing features. You've got information about the grape's variety, information about storage, region and location, the story of the farm. You've also got links through to the farm website and the industry website, information about serving suggestions, which are really popular with consumers. And importantly, you've also got the opportunity for consumer feedback. So up in the top right here, you can see the feedback survey, how crunchy or sweet, what appearance was the fruit, did you enjoy it? And this starts to give information back to the primary producer, enabling that two-way flow of information so they can start to develop their products around their consumers' preferences. Also in this trial, we have implemented Escavox real-time loggers, which are used to monitor temperature and location, and they are placed within the shipping containers. So we've integrated that traceability data with the rest of the information for each product. And this obviously supports the quality management and cool chain management of the product as it's shipped internationally. So here we have a quote from Christian Jones, who's the general manager for export at Perfection Fresh and Fruitmaster, and who's been responsible for putting this pilot into place on his farms. And he says, traceability is important to our business because it allows us to manage our products throughout the supply chain and bring our consumers closer to the source. So dual benefits there for implementing traceability on his farms. I just want to touch on how we've also attempted to future-proof for traceability regulations in this pilot. And we've mentioned earlier today about regulations and their impact on supply chains. And we really feel that embracing traceability is a priority for growers due to the increasing regulation by importing countries. So hopefully you are all aware now of the planned US FDA food traceability rule, and there's a link there if you want to find out more information. In red there, I just really wanted to highlight, sorry, if we could just go back, the due date for implementation of this is January 2023, and compliance will be in January 2025, which is really soon. And this is a really important example of traceability regulations that may be replicated by other importing countries. So we're expecting a kind of domino effect here. GS1 consultation has actually informed this rule, and GS1 has provided solutions using global GS1 standards and a common language for different international industry supply chains. So for example, they've produced a fresh fruit and vegetable standard which addresses these regulations. So a little bit more detail about the US FDA food traceability rule. It applies to all foods which are on something called the food traceability list. So here's a list of all the foods. And you can see for table grapes that they're kind of captured within the fruit and veg category, which is in the third row on the right, and down at the bottom within ready to eat deli salads. So this rule will apply to any foods that contain foods on the food traceability list. So all of these foods will need traceability back to the farm within 24 hours in an electronic format. And that is quite a big ask for many players within industry to get into place in the next 2 years. More importantly, the FDA is authorized to refuse imports that don't comply with these record keeping requirements. And there's also a request for other foods to undertake compliance on a voluntary basis. So I guess the key thing to think about is your industry ready for this food traceability rule? The food traceability rule will apply to everything on that list, and it will require compliance by any supply chain businesses that undertake these critical tracking events. So these are things like growing food, receiving it, transforming it or processing it, creating or packaging it, and shipping it. And all of these businesses are going to need to record key data elements at receival and dispatch. So what we did in this trial was we implemented these requirements through the pilot to kind of future-proof this business for this rule. We used GS1 standards that indicated where the food had come from, so the GLN or global location number, what the food was through the GTIN or the global trade item number, or the serial shipping container code. And then we also use GS1 technology for data storing and sharing, so the EPCIS, or the Electronic Product Code Information Services, and also for data access. So we use GS1 Digital Link for those business to business and business to consumer connections through the scanning of the QR code, or likewise, it could be through RFID or barcode scanning. Now, this is obviously a really detailed slide, and I've really put these in here just for future reference. But essentially, this is an example of the data that was implemented through the trial. So down the left-hand column, you can see data from the farm, data about the food item, production and processing information, and transit. You can see in the two middle columns, Fruitmaster's usual data format. And then over on the right-hand side, how we've implemented GS1 standard data alongside their usual format. So we've used key standards such as GLN, GTIN, and then we've used the EPCIS for information sharing as well. I want to say a quick word about data reveal versus data records. So data reveal enables people to kind of share the information they want to. So through the GS1 digital QR codes, you can ensure privacy by sharing information and allowing that two-way flow of information. On the right-hand side, behind the scenes, you can have your data records. And this is a really important concept to differentiate what you're revealing versus what you're storing behind the scenes. So you can have those unit and pallet codes for inventory management, temperature and logging for quality control, your scan data against food fraud, your survey data that enables you to market and product develop in future. And then really importantly, you've got your electronic traceability data, which allows you that instantaneous regulatory compliance in times of crisis, such as recalls. Thank you. If you want to find out more about this pilot, we are producing a series of videos and we've got them stored on the web page. So you're very welcome to follow those on social media. And we will produce a public report, which will be available through our websites once we've concluded the trial as well. So what are the opportunities for the future? I think it's really important to keep fostering that supply chain partner and consumer label scanning. It's important to take the learnings of this pilot and develop traceability solutions for other table grape growers as well. We haven't included any certification in the microsites, but this is a really huge area of opportunity. So including certification that can be viewed in electronic format. And there's been some really great work done in developing that by NATA and Jazance and GS1 Australia. And we're also keen to develop a cost-benefit analysis calculator so that anyone thinking of implementing a traceability system can have a play with that and see if they want to implement those systems themselves. So I just want to say thank you for all of the partners who've taken part in this partnership. It's been challenging running it through the pandemic, so we're really grateful for everyone to put in the hard work and ensure that the pilot's been a success. So thank you very much.